Score Time, our weekly sports show where we'll talk about all of those headlines and newsmakers of the week. But tonight is part two of last show's analysis of the 50th CRIFTA Games. Those were held in the Bahamas recently. Last week we started off what ended up to be a heated debate on Barbados' performance on finishing fifth with 11 medals. We've had a lot of feedback on last week's show, even from viewers over in the Bahamas. So we decided to go again, this time with topics that weren't dealt with last week. We also have your social media questions and comments to get in as well. So joining us live again to review the games and look at track and field in Barbados in general are commentators Jasper Blades, Perry Barnett. So let me go to you straight off, Jasper. I understand you got lots of feedback last show and even from overseas. What are you hearing?
People were happy with the statements that were made last week. Some people were unhappy. Some people were saying that we're trying to victimize people in authority, which I don't think we are. I just think that we have a fair opinion of, especially for how we say it, and that's how we are. That's what we said. Make anything against any person. We call names of positive performances by athletes, and we mention negative performances by officials. So that's it. But people that listen to the show from Bahamas, Trinidad, friends of mine that were watching the show, we say national coaches said that we give a fair opinion on what we saw.
I think it's fair too. As I told some people who stopped me and asked about what my thoughts were, because they were waiting to hear what I had to say, I would have gone a bit further. But you know what? Y'all are the experts, so we give you the first say, and I would go by what you say. Perry, your thoughts on last week's show? What kind of feedback you got?
Well, basically the same. I had colleagues of mine from down the islands as well who were logged in, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, etc. Were of late views as Jasper. You thought that we were basically fair when we made our assumptions and our decision on the false start, etc., or the supposedly false start that recall that they had when it was supposed to false start. Some persons felt a little slighted. I think they were not listening. They were not listening to what was being. They just felt maybe took it a little personal, and I thought that we were trying to to implicate certain persons in authority or certain organizations. The ones who really understood, they said kudos to CBC, and they actually said they would like to have a part two. So I guess thank you guys for listening.
And I mean, they're getting what they asked for tonight. So those of you who are calling and who have called for this part two, you can join us as our viewers. You can make your contributions as well and ask your questions via social media. The WhatsApp number 2285562. While our Facebook handles CBC Barbados or cbcnews.bb. And if you're bold enough, you can also call us live 2285562. If you're watching overseas, you put 1246 in front of that and give us a call and make your input. So again, Perry, Jasper, good to have you on. Let's start with this week now as we look forward. A look at we got to look back before we look forward still. A look at the selection process of the national teams, and what do you think generally of the process? You hit the track first, Jasper.
I think we could carry more athletes. I think the selection process has to be refined. I do understand what formula they use, but this formula needs to be some sort of readjusted or changed.
Well, I mean, maybe you can clarify that as you speak about it. What is the formula currently used?
From my understanding, they look at a qualifying time for next year as the average of the time before. So that's how they look at it. I think that's what it was. So I want to explain me. We look at the qualifying times of the qualifying times for this year will be the average performances of last year's team or the finals. That's why it was told it was at one time. I don't know if that has changed. I don't know how the president association sits down on pinpoints. You have to run this time per se or to go forward. And that's that said. Once, but as we said, we have students who have fell short of the so-called qualifying standards, and they are not taken. And you know what? You say yourself, if I had taken Perry, I had taken Shane, what could I have done? You don't know because you never took them, you never exposed them.
It's
So
on the
we are
day.
taking so-called creme de crop, but is we trying also to we want to carry 22 children and get 22 medals? That's not going to happen.
Perry, what do you think about the process?
Yeah, I agree with Jasper on this one. The process needs to be readjusted. I think if we look at Carifta for what it really is supposed slated as a developmental regional meet, we should be able to take more athletes down so we can expose these athletes at a young age to regional and international scopes. We need to get our athletes out their athletes recognized. The harsh reality of it is just taking the ones who make a qualifying standard, as we have it here, which is very stringent, down to Carifta and expecting because they've made the qualifying standard for them to get medals is flawed, and they need to be readjusted.
So you got 24 athletes selected in the 2023 team. This number, as both of you said, is clearly insufficient as far as development is concerned, because we know from the past that we had the same number of athletes roughly around there, but we're getting more medals. So we need to change that for sure.
Yes, the quality of the athletes regionally, we've seen that a lot of people would not have factored medals in the medal table at Carifta or on the World State Caribbean region. They have stepped up. They are now being seen. So that is a clear indication that the standard throughout the region has changed. And if you look at what the St. Lucia's and what's they are taking athletes who there for exposure, and then when these athletes come back, they're hungry for the next year, so they'll go back where they train harder because they've been there, they've experienced it, and they want to be on the podium. So even if they don't meet them, their times are better, and we need to take hoist that in and do that as well.
So Jasper and Perry, it sounds like you're on the same page. So Jasper, you're saying carry more people and give them a chance to run their hearts out. Don't focus on the medals, but look at that as a development for the year to come.
Yes. Today, someone wants to say that Carifta is the largest, best international meet at that age group in the world. We had Lord Sebastian Coe at the event, and this is his second or third time, or I think since he first came, he has never stopped coming because he says it's one of the best regional meets in the world. So if we can get to showcase other athletes from Barbados, and it's not, I'm going to say it may cost us more for travel, but look at the benefits of the country in the long term.
And that's something.
We have more to.
And that's something we got to come to, because we're going to talk about investment into athletics and into sport in general, and also about some other issues surrounding relays, because Barbados hasn't been doing as well as we could, I think, in those. And then the field events, that's another side of the story. But we'll take a quick break. A lot more to talk about as we speak about the 50th Carifta Games right here on Final Score. Back with you on Final Score as we review the 50th Carifta Games, part 2 of our discussion. We had some relay teams on the track, but they didn't really live up to the billing or what we would have expected of Barbados's relay teams. And then there are other teams like Bermuda that seem to be doing pretty okay. What's happening in the area of the relays? Why aren't we doing better, Jasper?
yeah, what's the most exciting part of the SAT or not SAT? The
It really
relays,
is, yeah.
right? Even if you were tired, the athletes decide to come out and put in the effort. I just felt me and a person down there had a conversation about the relays. And I asked where we can enter a team. We had 4 youngsters who all ran track events. Where we can put them into run. I think, the tired, this and that. I says, but Jamaica tired too, Trinidad tired, Bermuda tired. Put them in. They be just it's best to even for the development of the sport itself here in Barbados. I think we could have run the relay teams. I think that's something that we dropped the ball on as a country and as an organization. Even if you don't want to carry, if you don't want to carry, we call relay specialists. We're not carrying relay specialists, but you need to do something. A relay, who won the last relay? Who won the last relay? This year. Who won it? Who won the last relay? If you these people remember, so as a even we talk about developing country, have a sponsor want to develop support a Barbados team, because you know what, that's the Barbados team that support that run the relay came second in relay.
And I want you to keep that in mind. I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about companies and corporate Barbados getting involved. Just keep that top of mind. I want to speak about these field events first, Perry. What is Barbados doing to develop field events at the Carifta level? Are we doing enough?
Well, I don't think we're doing enough. I mean, we have some very good field event coaches in Barbados. Don't take anything away from the Armstrongs and the Barrow Smith and the list goes on. Kemar, Hold the Edge, etc. We have some excellent field event coaches here in Barbados. The problem is that those can only coach who comes, the talent that comes to them. The Athletic Association of Barbados can only see the talent that comes to those coaches and then shows up at their track meets, their track and field meets. What we need to do is, as was highlighted by my announcing mentor and good friend, Cap Jules, they have to have some talent identification. We need to go to we know for a fact those cricketers that field on the boundaries and balls in to the stumps. Those are javelin throwers. We need to go out in the community, go to the different sporting, liaise with their sporting disciplines, and invite those athletes, those cricketers, the footballers who our left and right, our wingers, they are quarter milers and half milers. They run the whole night plus. They run the whole field up and these are guys with stamina. Our swimmers. We've seen the Finn Armstrong and Luke McIntyre and stuff. Those athletes, they have a strong aquatics background. Okay, we need to liaise with those other sporting disciplines and invite those athletes to track and field, even if it's a one-off thing, to see what they have. Raw, but you're going to see that they have potential, and we can groom them and get them developed so they can compete at the Carifta level. We can't. We just say no, expect after us.
I want stick up in there. We had 2 West Indian cricketers that represented Barbados at Carifta. Can you name them?
2.
Craig Buffett. And Yonder Dutton.
Actually, there were 3. There were 3.
You really can't get to a different West Indies to come.
No. What we are saying, Haley Matthews, she's right. Look at the cross. Haley Matthews is a Carifta medalist. The other Dohan is a Carifta medalist in shot put. Haley did javelin. So we have there's evidence there, right? Empirical evidence there that proves that if we cross over or invite athletes from different sportings with that strength, allow them out and compete, then we will have a larger pool to pull from.
All right, well, there's a suggestion that is out there now, and we will see what happens as they go forward. We got some questions coming in on social media fast and furious. They're showing up there. I got to get them in. How is it like that countries like Bermuda, who don't usually have sprint finalists, can field teams in the relays and medal? but Barbados can't find a team to do something similar.
All right,
All right, Shane,
let me
Perry, the guy that won on the 20-100 Howell from Bermuda,
Right.
his dad is Barbadian.
yeah.
So, and he grew up here. He grew up here. Dad moved to Bermuda, but going to Bermuda, same system, same training. But look what happened. Came out one of the Jamaicans are out for disqualification reasons. But look at he held his own. I'm not saying he's a Barbadian per se, but
Yeah.
you know they're doing well.
All right, another question there, Perry. You got to take this other question. I think you would like this one. Were our athletes tired with BSAC so close to Carifta?
I would not. I think yes and no. Some athletes we got to look at how we manage the athletes. Okay, some of those athletes they ran the junior nationals 2 weeks before, and they went straight into the meet. They came back the next week. They had semi-finals, and they had went through rounds, etc. Then they had roughly about 2 weeks to recover before Carifta, a little bit less than 2 weeks in most cases to recover, etc. I think it can managing the athletes. I would not have an athlete who had qualified for Carifta. And that athlete is head and shoulders above the rest. I that athlete go out there to try to run a hard out to break a record. Go and get the 10 points for me and save yourself for Carifta. Because I think we're not that far away from Carifta either. However, those athletes would have already established themselves as who were going to Carifta, etc. And we watch how those children ran. If anybody follow track and field throughout the region, when those children ran at champs, etc., you could see that they had more on it. They had more to give.
More gas in the tank.
More in the tank, and they let it all out at Carifta.
I got another question here coming from social. As I said, they're coming in very quickly. How can the head coach say this was a good performance? Was 11 medals his goal before going? Yes, Jasper, go ahead.
The head coach has to say that. The head coach, no, I'm not trying to be personal against the head coach personally. I was coaching a school team, and we only got 5 points at BSAC. As head coach has to take the responsibility. But if I did well, I have to say we did well, because you have to say the head coach. I think the head coach is just speaking as the head coach, and he has done nothing wrong. But he's the head coach, so we are going to point fingers at him, not at he.
Listen, Jasper, Perry ready for you, but we got to take a pause for a cause. We'll come back and get more on that. And of course, we'll continue to talk about the feedback on the Carifta Games. The 50th Carifta Games just ended right here on Final Score. We're making that final dash for home on Final Score as we're about the 70-meter mark in the 100-meter race. Perry, you were anxious to get in there about this medal count. The head coach said, he was happy with the 11 medals. Your thoughts on his comments?
We have to understand something about these interviews. The head coach's interview is heard not only by the Barbadian public, etc., but by the same athletes that he or she would have coached. Okay, so the head coach had to say, as Jasper said, right? They said he had to say these things because you had a couple of athletes who went out, a lot of them first year in their age divisions, and they tried their best. Okay, for you to come as the head coach and say, "Oh, I'm very disappointed with the performance," etc., etc., knowing full well too that for the most part, he head coach and the rest of the coaching team will not have worked athletes in depth until that 2 week build up to career. He said it was okay. He had to say that these coaches and managers, etc. They are also being athletes and their parents. So he was saying based on what he had in front of him to work with, and the space of time, the amount of time that he had to work with those athletes.
There's a saying that goes that honesty is normally the best policy, but it doesn't always work like that because we have lived lives. We know how life is. So you temper your comments to suit. But do those comments inspire a lesser performance? Because the athletes are hearing, oh, I did well. Well, we all know that we were expecting better of our Bajan athletes. So they're saying, oh, we did well. Well, we could continue on this train. We don't even have to get better.
This is what leadership. Hold on. This is what leadership and management comes into play now. Okay? See in front of the television screen for everybody, the whole of Barbados and the region to hear. Then with your after action meeting, your postmortem or whatever, with said athletes, you can have a one-on-one with them, sit down and say, okay, we know you weren't at your best. We're expecting you ran X, Y, Z.
Okay.
I don't want to get the reality that maybe I could have done better, even if I tried my best next. But saying that he was pleased with the performances, there's nothing wrong with that. But what would have been done after with those athletes to let them know, okay, well, don't go and rest on your laurels and begin with the chair because you still have a lot of work to do. And so that they can take that away and go back to their coaches, their cletterer, and put in the extra work.
Well, on that note, we have this question from Social. Can we get some praise for the 2 gold medalists? What's the plan for them and the silver medalists as the cream of the crop?
Well, I can't say this. I watched those 2 races. Those young ladies ran fantastic. I watched the triple jump. Young Messiah did fantastic. And I supported his parents. I spoke to Leah's dad and grandmother. I spoke to Lydia, who's Ashley's mom. And I said, congratulations, good job. And I'm happy. I spoke to Naya Brown, mom and dad, and I said, good job. But I want the season's best, personal best for those performances. You understand?
No,
what was done? Other countries had parades. Barbados came in to the airport, and you went home. It's had a big bus ride, and the children were thinking the youngster that ran that last race. They treated him like he won the race. You understand?
Does that differentiate countries that are serious about athletics and others that are not as serious?
Yeah, I always say that, and I don't care who gets vexed with this. We make sports at sport in Barbados. You make sport at sports in Barbados. I would say this in my workplace. I would say in public. I would say this all the time. We make sport at sports. We like sports till this time. You understand? Look at all the fuss we had for BSAT and NATSAT. No, we done. But it's not the best thing. It's not the best for some people in the country.
Right. Perry handled this one, the last WhatsApp question for the night. We had so many more, but of course, the talk about money will come up. But if the AAB had a plan in place for the 50th, corporate Barbados would have responded and helped and sponsor the affairs of the athletes and more, the airfare of the athletes.
All right, so I had created a list of stuff I wanted to speak, and we're looking at the organization of sports and track and field on its own, but sports in general. And when we look at things like, I can backtrack a little. When we look at things like, okay, BSAC, everybody knows when BSAC is going to be. Everybody knows when NAPSAC is going to be. Everybody knows when the Josephine Memorial Classic is going to be. Everybody knows when the Relay Fair is going to be. Okay, because a lot of extensive advertisement and public relations work has gone in to making sure that the public knows about these. The AAB needs to step up first off to let people know that they are being put on by them and what dates, etc. beforehand. Just last weekend, there was the NACAP Junior Multi-Event Trials. A lot of persons who like to follow track and field were not aware of that. Okay, there's another track not next following Saturday. A lot of aware of that. So for corporate Barbados to get in, you know beforehand year the anniversary of crypto is going to be. You have a 4-year, I think it's a 4-year plan or some 4-year time country for the next 4 years, etc. You need to be more aggressive and getting corporate Barbados involved. And even with the fact that we have through COVID and personal investment money may not be as strong as it was before, to advertise these meets, invite these members of corporate Barbados to come out to the meets, make it a big hullabaloo, a big shebang, and you let them see, hey, they're doing something here with track and field Barbados. The ALB is doing something, and we want to get on board. Keep us posted on any next event is. Who's this little girl that is running? No, let's see how she does. So these things need to be done. So money could come if they open the eyes of the public and corporate Barbados that this is what is going on, and that is not being done.
Well, corporate Barbados is seeing it as we speak. Last comment from you, Jasper. What would you like to see in the coming months as we try to get more of our youngsters really hitting the track as they're supposed to, so we can bring home some more bacon? Very quickly, you got like 30 seconds.
We need more competitive events. We need more competitive meets. We need more meets. We need some grass meets in St. Lucie and St. Andrew. Let me find the talent. Not saying that we want to go are not talented. They are talented. But let me get a bull at the bottom to rise to the top. Because in sports, it's saying that to get one professional, you need 10,000 people at the bottom. Then you come out in the pyramids where you get the elite at the top. That's what we need. We just need the associations like Barbados to let the track and field run and not, in my opinion, hold it back. Let it run. Let it be for the people and not for themselves or about themselves. That's how I feel. I feel it's more about them than the sport itself.
Jasper, Perry, thank you again for spending a second week with us here on Final Score, delving into some of the issues that we have with athletics here on the island and just finding a way and giving your proposal for finding a way to improve this kind of sport here in Barbados and improve the standings for our athletes as well. We enjoy your time and thank you for spending it with us here on Final Score. Hopefully we can have a chat again in a few weeks' time. You be good, man.
I'll be looking forward to that.
Appreciate your time.
I hope that everybody remembers it's just our opinion.
Perry and Jasper here with me on Final Score. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll have that final 60. Let's go hit the track for our final 60. Calmeers and the Lucknow Super Giants, they take on Alzari Joseph and the Gujarat Titans in tomorrow's IPL from 6 a.m. You can catch that on MCTV Sports Match Channel 310. The BFA's Champions Cup kicks off with matches at St. Martin's and Westbury from 6 in the evening. Also at 6 p.m. is the top of the table women's football clash between Weymouth Wales and Paradise. That's at the St. George Secondary. And the BABA second round continues a double header at BCC tomorrow from 6 in the evening. That's our program for this week. Join us again next time as we get more analysts and newsmakers to give us their final score. Good night and have a great weekend. I'm Shane Seeley.